The traditional Irish wild goat is something that we've had in the mountains roaming around for, centuries, probably even millennia, I don't know. It's just something that's very Irish to me. I think as an Irish filmmaker, it's just natural that I would make a film like this in the Irish language that is dealing with Irish folklore, and that's all I'm doing with this. I'm simply telling, I guess the thing about Irish mythology is that it's been passed down word of mouth for generations, so it's an oral tradition, and every new teller has their own little spin on it. So I guess this is my little spin on the stories that I was told that terrified me and kept me up all night as a child. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just adding to that discourse generally. The title is Fréwaka, and there are a couple of different ways of pronouncing that in Irish in the different dialects. And it means roots, but the word has this texture that is heavier. It feels like tangled roots, thick, heavy roots, roots that are hard to pull up from the ground, whereas the English word roots is much plainer, much simpler. And I think that word doesn't have the same weight as the word in Irish, and I suppose that's how language works a lot of the time. There's associations that aren't instantly transferable one word to the other. And that's what it reflects in the film, I think, the kind of inheritance of things, language, mythology, superstition, fear, mental illness, all of these things all tangled up together that are very hard to pick out of individuals. The goat then, goats are such an Irish symbol, the traditional Irish wild goat is something that we've had in the mountains roaming around for, centuries, probably even millennia, I don't know. It's just something that's very Irish to me, and then there's a lot of mythology centered around goats. There's a festival still takes place in Kerry every year. No one remembers why, but they still do the festival. And it's where a young girl, a 12-year-old, will be married symbolically to a goat, and she'll wear a crown and she'll become like the sort of queen wife of this king to goat, King Puck he's called. So I'm nodding to the fact that they're a natural part of our landscape, but they also are very linked in with the mythology. And then goats have an association outside of Ireland with mythology too, and then you've got things like, Black Phillip and all that. So it's a nice folk horror reference, but it's also just a very intrinsically Irish thing. Dee Hexon was our composer on this movie, and what a wonderful job. It's an amazing soundtrack, and the thing about Dee is that she's kind of like me in that we can communicate in a very abstract way about feelings and ideas that are not easily communicated, almost like dream state stuff. She's very willing to go to odd places, and together we were on a journey of kind of like digging into cultural trauma, and which is very hard to articulate, and finding a way to articulate the inarticulatable, if you want, and also using odd instruments to sort of evoke a sense of our ancient ancestors and what they've passed on to us, like the Celtic war horn and things like that. So Dee is magnificent, incredible, a true artist really, and absolute pleasure to work with. It was important to me that the film should feel claustrophobic, because I think that's how Peg and Shu feel. They get involved, it's almost like a folie à deux, potentially. They're together in this house and they go in this spiral of destruction together. I do nod to the beautiful exteriors of Ireland. There's the very opening shot with the goat on the hill, and then at the end we're back on a hill and it's a different situation, but most of it is indoors. Part of that is budgetary, because when you're working with a small indie budget, you have to control as much as you can, and in Ireland it rains a lot. In Ireland there are a lot of unforeseens with weather, so we had a very tight shoot. We had 20 days scheduled in which to do everything, but the film from its very inception was written to be an Irish film and in Irish language, and to be also on a very low independent budget. So it was written with these ideas in mind, to keep it contained so we could do it quickly and cheaply, but also getting to the heart of what I wanted to say. It's wonderful to be here at Locarno and to have the premiere at such a prestigious, long-running festival. It's really, really an honour. I hope that everyone who comes to see the film really enjoys it and has a good time. I hope that everyone who comes to the film festival in general has a great time. There's a beautiful festival and wonderful people. There's a great program, and I hope everyone has a great time.